In the autumn of 1981, the Great Smoky Mountains wore a majestic cloak of reds, oranges, and yellows, painting a breathtaking canvas that attracts nature lovers from far and wide. Nestled in the heart of this natural splendor lies the Deep Creek Campground, a haven for those seeking the serene embrace of nature and the simple joys of outdoor life. It is here, amidst the whispering trees and meandering trails, that Thelma Pauline Melton, or Polly, and her husband, Bob Melton, find their seasonal retreat, escaping the hustle of the everyday to bask in the tranquil beauty of the fall months. Polly, rarely known by her given name, Thelma, carries life stories woven with threads of joy, hardship, and adventure. Married to Bob, a man 20 years her senior, their union marks Polly's third attempt at matrimonial bliss. Yet, it is with Bob that Polly seems to have found a true partner, with whom she shared not just her love, but a zest for the nomadic lifestyle that sees them living out of an Airstream trailer. This portable home on wheels symbolizes more than just a means of travel. It represents freedom, a shared dream, and a life unbound by the conventional.
Standing here, amidst fall colors in the Great Smoky Mountains, I feel an overwhelming sense of peace. Deep Creek Campground isn't just a retreat, it's become a part of who I am. Our life together, unconventional as it may be, living out of our Airstream trailer, represents freedom, a shared dream, a testament to a life unbound by the usual paths. Every day is a new adventure, and as I look out at the mountains, I'm grateful for the journey that brought me here. With Bob by my side, I've found a completeness I didn't know I was searching for. This life, our life, is unconventional, but it's ours, and I wouldn't have it any other way. This is my home.
Their bond, strengthened by the shared silence and laughter within the compact walls of their Airstream, grows deeper with each passing year. Bob, now 78, finds his world increasingly confined to the interior of their mobile home. His health, a declining slope that contrasts sharply with the vibrant landscape outside. Polly, 58, vibrant and full of life, finds solace and strength in the great outdoors, her passion for hiking undimmed by the passing years or her own battles with health issues. Each fall, as the mountains call, Polly and Bob make their trip to the Deep Creek Campground. It's a ritual, an annual journey that Polly treasures above all else. For 2 decades, this tradition has anchored her, a constant in her life marked by change. The campground, with its community of fellow retirees and nature enthusiasts, becomes a second home, a place where Polly is not just known but cherished. Here, friendships are forged in campfires and conversations under the vast canopy of the stars. The dynamics within this close-knit community are unique. Newcomers are embraced only through a collective nod of approval, a testament to the tight bonds formed in this secluded paradise. Polly, with her easy smile and helping hand, is a linchpin in this community, her presence as familiar as the perennial trees surrounding them. With Bob by her side, albeit more in spirit than on hikes, Polly navigates the trails and the complexities of campground relationships with equal ease, her life rich with the threads of nature, love, and communal living.
Arriving at Deep Creek Campground in the heart of the Great Smoky Mountains' fall splendor, I was immediately struck by the vibrant colors and the sense of community that seemed to permeate the air. I had heard about the close-knit group of retirees and nature lovers who called this place a second home, and I was eager to find my own place among them. It wasn't long before I learned of Polly and Bob Melton, pillars of this community. Polly, with her infectious smile and generous spirit, quickly became a figure of intrigue and admiration for me. She navigated the campground and its relationships with a grace that made her beloved by all. Bob, though less physically present on the trails, was equally a part of the community's heart, his bond with Polly, a testament to enduring partnership. As the days passed, I found myself becoming more intertwined with the life here. The welcoming nature of the community, so deeply influenced by Polly's warmth and Bob's quiet strength, offered a sense of belonging I hadn't known I was seeking. Around campfires and under the canopy of stars, I began to weave my own threads into the fabric of this community, discovering a life enriched by nature, companionship, and shared stories. Here, In the embrace of the mountains and the company of newfound friends, I found a home.
As 1981 unfolds, the serene beauty of the Smoky Mountains and the predictable rhythm of campground life mask the undercurrents of mystery that swirl quietly beneath the surface. Little does anyone know, this year will etch the name Thelma Pauline, Polly, Melton into the fabric of unsolved mysteries. Her story, a whisper among the rustling leaves, a shadow in the misty expanse of the mountain that she so dearly loves. On the morning of September 25th, 1981, the dense canopy of the Great Smoky Mountains seemed to hold its breath, a prelude to the day that would etch itself into the memory of the Deep Creek Campground. Polly made an uncharacteristic choice that morning. For years, her routine had been as predictable as the sunrise, including her commitment to serving food to local senior citizens, a task that she approached with a blend of duty and delight. Yet, on this day, Polly opted out, setting aside her volunteer apron for reasons that would remain a whisper among the trees. This decision was the first thread of abnormality in what was to unfold as a mystery. Polly instead turned her focus to the mountains that called to her spirit. As she readied herself, her actions seemed no different from any other day destined for the trails, except for the palpable absence of her usual morning destination. Joined by her friends Red and Truella, the trio set off into the heart of the Smoky Mountains. The air was crisp, the path ahead was a familiar friend to Polly, who had traversed these trails countless times before. Laughter and light-hearted teasing flowed easily among them, a testament to the depths of their friendship and the joy they found in each other's company. Polly, usually keeping pace with Red and Truella, inexplicably began to accelerate, her strides growing longer, her pace quickening, until she was a solitary figure on the move ahead.
At first, I thought it was all in jest, a playful challenge perhaps, but the widening gap between us felt out of character. "Polly, wait up," I called, half laughing, half concerned. Yet she didn't slow down. My laughter faded into the crisp mountain air, replaced by a growing unease. What prompted this sudden burst of speed? Was Polly simply lost in thought, or was there something more pressing on her mind? As she disappeared from view, a knot formed in my stomach. This wasn't like our Polly, the friend who thrived on our camaraderie, who always made sure we were together, especially in the unpredictable wilderness of the Smokies. I exchanged a look with Truella, both of us masked in confusion and concern. We quickened our pace, hoping to catch up, to return to the comfortable rhythm of our friendship that seemed, in that moment, as distant as Polly herself.
The playful banter that had been a constant companion on their hikes fell silent as Polly's form became smaller, eventually disappearing over a crest in the trail. It was a moment suspended in time, when the ordinary act of hiking morphed into the opening scene of a mystery that would haunt the campground. When Red and Truella reached the point where Polly had vanished from their view, they found not their friend, but the empty path, an eerie quiet setting over the forest. Panic, a foreign intruder on their routine hikes, crept into the hearts of Red and Truella. Confusion painted their features as they called out for Polly, their voices swallowed by the vastness of the mountains. The initial search, fueled by a growing sense of urgency, yielded no sign of their friend. The decision to involve the park rangers marked the escalation of the situation from a simple misunderstanding to a full-scale search and rescue operation. The tranquility of Deep Creek Campground was shattered, replaced by the frantic energy of the search teams and the whispered fears of a community suddenly thrust into the unknown.
The moment we realized Polly was missing, a cold wave of panic washed over me. Our calls for her, desperate and hopeful, were just absorbed by the vastness of the mountains, leaving us in a suffocating silence. What started as a routine hike spiraled into confusion and fear, as Polly remained nowhere to be found. We had to get the park rangers involved, marking a grim turn from a mere worry to a serious search operation. The peaceful atmosphere of Deep Creek Campground was shattered, now pulsing with the urgent movements of search teams and the anxious murmurs of our tight-knit community. As darkness fell upon the mountains, the reality of the situation sank in. The Smokies, a place of joy and refuge for Polly, had become the backdrop for our worst fears. Dawn brought no relief, only the intensification of the search as volunteers joined, transforming the landscape into a frenzy of activity. I was struck by the community's outpouring of support, yet beneath the action, a deep unease gnawed at me. The mountains, our sanctuary, now held a mystery that seemed as vast and impenetrable as the forests themselves. With each unanswered call, with every unturned leaf, the weight of Polly's absence grew heavier, turning what should have been an ordinary day into anything but.
Despite the collective resolve fueling the search, each effort seemed to dissolve into the mountain air, leaving behind a trail of frustration and unanswered questions. The distinctive pattern of Polly's shoe prints, a potential breadcrumb in the vast wilderness, offered a glimmer of hope, a tangible connection to the woman who had vanished. Search dogs, with their keen senses, were unleashed into the forest, their noses skimming the ground, seeking any scent of Polly. Yet, even their remarkable abilities seemed to falter against the mystery, leading only to dead ends and deepening the sense of perplexity surrounding her disappearance. The campground and the broader community of Bryson City, bound by the shared rhythm of seasonal migrants and the camaraderie of the great outdoors, found themselves united in shock and disbelief. The tight-knit fabric of this community, where newcomers were embraced only through collective agreement, now faced the unthinkable. Conversations around campfires turned somber, the laughter and stories of yesteryears overshadowed by the pervasive question, what happened to Polly? This collective bewilderment and concern underscored the deep connections formed, where Polly was not just a familiar face, but a cherished member of an extended family. As days turned into weeks without any sign of Polly, the void left by her absence became a breeding ground for theories and speculation. Some theorized the possibility of an abduction, despite the lack of any struggle or witnesses. Theories ventured into the wilderness itself, pondering if an animal attack could be responsible, though the absence of any evidence lent little credence to this idea. Others contemplated a more deliberate disappearance, suggesting that Polly, perhaps overwhelmed by secret troubles or a longing for a new beginning, had orchestrated her own vanishing act.
Since the call came in about Polly's disappearance from Deep Creek Campground, the case has weighed heavily on me. Bryson City, usually alive with the camaraderie of outdoor enthusiasts, now feels subdued, cloaked in a silence that's hard to shake. Campfire gatherings, once full of laughter and stories, now revolve around a single question: what happened to Polly? In my time as sheriff, I've seen my share of cases, but none have echoed through the community like this. The absence of evidence for theories like abduction or an animal attack only fuels more speculation. Some whisper about the possibility of Polly orchestrating her own disappearance, driven by unseen pressures or desires for a new start. With no sign of her, these theories and the collective sense of loss only deepen. Polly was more than a missing person. She was a beloved part of our community fabric. The mystery of her disappearance, set against the backdrop of the Smokies, is a puzzle that's proving difficult to solve. My role demands objectivity and focus on the facts, yet I can't help but feel entwined in the community's search for answers and closure. This isn't just another case. It's a quest to restore peace to a community that's lost one of its own.
Each theory reflected the desperation and hope of a community grappling with the unknown. Whispers of otherworldly explanations even began to surface, with suggestions of supernatural forces at play in the dense, ancient forests of the Smokies. As the search expanded in scope and scale, the mystery of Polly's disappearance only deepened, casting a long shadow over the Deep Creek Campground and the hearts of those who called it home. As the initial shock of Polly Melton's disappearance settled into a persistent, uneasy quiet, attention turned to the fragments of behavior and evidence she left in her wake. The day before she vanished, Polly deviated from her routine in a manner that was both subtle and striking. Her decision to make multiple phone calls from a location she seldom used for such purposes painted a picture of premeditation, or perhaps a silent cry for help. These calls, shrouded in mystery due to the lack of traceable records, became a focal point for speculation. Who was on the other end of the line? Was Polly reaching out to someone as part of a plan to start anew? Or were these conversations a lifeline thrown in a moment of distress?
Who was she calling, and why keep it a secret from us, her friends? At night, the quiet of the camp was a reminder of her absence. Those calls, were they a sign we all missed? The idea that she might have been silently struggling, or even planning to leave, was haunting. Polly was the life of our group. It's hard to imagine she had troubles she didn't share. With every day that passed without a trace of her, those phone calls became a puzzle we couldn't solve, a piece of the mystery that kept us awake at night. It's the not knowing that's the worst part, the feeling of having missed the chance to help a friend in need.
Further adding to the complexity was Polly's mental state. Known to be a private person, Polly had navigated the loss of her mother with a resilience that masked the depths of her sorrow. Yet, beneath the surface, there were whispers of depression, a battle fought quietly and perhaps not entirely overcome. The disappearance of Bob's Valium, a medication not prescribed to Polly but within her reach, suggested a turmoil that went deeper than many realized. Was it a coincidence, or did it hint at a desperate attempt to find solace in oblivion? 6 months after Polly stepped into the unknown, a new clue emerged, as baffling as it was unexpected. A check bearing Polly's name was cashed in Birmingham, Alabama. This city, a thread woven into the tapestry of Polly's past, suddenly became a beacon for those searching for answers. The signature on the check, a mimicry of Polly's own handwriting, suggested an involvement but fell short of conclusive proof. Was Polly alive, orchestrating her disappearance with a precision that left her loved ones grappling in the dark? Or was someone else manipulating the strands of her story, casting shadows over the truth? The cashed check did not have a clear narrative and injected a new layer of complexity into the theories surrounding Polly's fate. It stood as a solitary signpost pointing towards a life that might still be lived, or a ruse crafted to mislead. The implications of this financial transaction rippled through the community, reigniting the embers of hope and suspicion in equal measure. In the search for Polly Melton, every clue seemed to deepen the mystery rather than illuminate the path to understanding. The unusual behaviors, the untraceable phone calls, and the Valium that vanished all converged around the cashed check, leaving those who sought the truth pondering the mysterious twists of fate that could hide a woman from the world or reveal her secrets to those who dared to look closer. Bob Melton, Polly's husband, found himself adrift in a sea of uncertainty, his health and spirit diminished by the weight of her absence. Friends who had shared trails, laughter, and the simple pleasures of campground life now faced the empty space where Polly once stood, her presence irreplaceably void. The fabric of the community, so tightly knit around shared experiences and mutual affection, frayed at the edges, leaving those within it grappling with a loss that extended beyond the physical. The mystery of what happened to Polly Melton remains a question mark hanging over the Smoky Mountains. The story of her disappearance touched not just those who searched the woods and called her name, but also those who hear her story and felt the chill of the unresolved fate. The emotional toll exacted by Polly's vanishing was not measured in days of searching or miles traversed, but in the quiet moments of reflection, the birthdays and anniversaries that passed without her, and the haunting realization that some questions may remain forever unanswered. The legacy of Polly's disappearance is a story of love, loss, and the relentless pursuit of truth. If you have any information, no matter how small or seemingly insignificant, you are urged to come forward. In the quest for answers, every piece of the puzzle is crucial. It is through this collective effort that we may yet find the closure so deeply sought, not just for Polly's sake, but for those all touched by her story. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey through yet another captivating tale here at A Universe of Mystery. Your support means the world to us as we delve into the unknown and uncover the stories that make our universe so endlessly fascinating. If you've enjoyed this video, please do us a huge favor by hitting that like button, sharing it with friends who love mysteries as much as you do, and subscribing to our channel. Don't forget to ring the notification bell so you never miss out on new content. We've got plenty more mysteries to explore together, and we can't wait to share them with you. Thanks again for watching all the way to the end of the video. stay curious, and we'll see you in the next mystery.